Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Ladykillers, and this movie came out in 2004, and it's directed by the Coen brothers, who had made many great films over the years. As far as everything that I've seen that they've directed together, I would say it's definitely one of their weaker films for sure. I still enjoyed the movie overall. I definitely got the experience that I wanted overall. And I do have my own problems with it, and I'll go through those. But I do like it more than I don't, at the very least. I can say that much about it. Like, the film looked great. I really love the look of this film, and the cinematography was done by Roger Deakins, and I feel as though that's part of the reason why this movie looks as good as it does. And the performances were great. I think this movie has a really great cast. Tom Hanks, I thought he did a great job in this film. And J.K. Simmons, Marlon Wayans. I just feel as though they were well cast overall. I do have one criticism with Marlon Wayans, but I'll get to that in a bit. But overall, I had a good cast, and the comedy for this movie worked for me overall. Especially with J.K. Simmons, I found him to be really funny in this movie. And this movie had plenty of great ideas, and what this movie ultimately is a heist movie, and I enjoyed that aspect of the film. And this movie had plenty of funny ideas for jokes, and there were plenty of scenes that I enjoyed. And I do like the tone of the film. I do feel as though it captures the tone of what I would want from a movie like this. And pretty much what I would want from a Coen Brothers movie is in this film. However, where this movie is being dragged down is the script. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really prop up this movie as much as it should. Like, sure, there are fun parts and fun ideas, but ultimately what I felt as though was really dragging this movie down was that it was kind of being torn between two directions. One being a Coen Brothers movie where they're trying to tell a story where you would expect from any one of their popular movies, where you get the basic idea for the film, but for the most part, there are aspects that are not fully concluded and just left wondering what happened there, and you can pretty much fill in the gaps for the most part. And it's either going to go in that direction or B, it doesn't really matter. But that's what I expect from their movies, and I felt as though the movie was torn between doing that and just being a normal movie. Not that they haven't done something like that before, like Fargo is an example, where I love Fargo. I do feel as though the structure of that movie is not something that drags that movie down, but unfortunately, what is dragging this movie down is that it can't decide what it wants to be. Do you want to be a mainstream film, or do you want to be kind of an art film where things are a bit different? And sure, plenty of movies that I personally love can combine those two things, and never once feels as though it's sacrificing in any particular direction. Like, you can have both. There are plenty of examples of this. Like any Coen Brothers movie, I feel as though is a great example. Like The Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Inside Llewyn Davis. Like, movies like those offer me a lot and just give me what I'm looking for. But they're not so far out there that I feel as though a mainstream audience member won't enjoy them. Who knows, I could be wrong about that, but that's my impression while watching some of their movies at the very least, whereas this one, it just felt torn. Like, what are we trying to be? I was having trouble getting attached to the characters early on in the film. And you could make the argument that you're not really supposed to be attached to them because they are criminals by the end of the day. But still, I would like to have some emotional attachment to something. And Marlon Wayans, as much as I enjoyed him in this movie, I do feel as though there were points in this film where he kind of felt like he was in a different movie at times, where I don't really fully buy the fact that you're in this group of characters or in this time period. And also, I might have blanked or missed something, but I'm not entirely sure when this movie is supposed to be taking place. Is it supposed to be the 60s? but then they reference, oh, this was a thing that happened in the 60s. I was like, okay, it's at least the 70s or 80s, maybe. I was a little unclear about that, and also with how characters interact, I was a bit confused by just the way they're presented. And I was thinking, like, okay, we have a bunch of characters who are all physically and visually different, and also with their costume design and their accents and how they talk with one another. Like, sure, you can use that as a tool to more clearly define them as different characters, and how they're different from each other adds to their characters. And I would much more prefer those elements to be subtle and not blatantly in your face and just overly explained. Like, I like that about it, but unfortunately, I was just left wondering, what are we going for here? Maybe if I were to watch it again, I might pick up on something, but it really just felt as though, oh, here's enough of something, but they didn't go far enough. It's like they thought they went enough, but in reality, it was not enough, if that makes sense. And there were parts of this movie where I do feel as though it kind of substituted substance for comedy. And sure, that's fine. In comedies, things don't have to make sense, but I don't feel as though that was the right approach for this particular movie, simply because it was difficult for me to buy into the fact that what I'm supposed to be getting into is supposed to be something that I care about or can get invested in. And don't get me wrong, there are funny parts that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed the comedy overall, like I said earlier, but I do feel as though the balance between the two was a bit off for my liking. And also, compared to other Coen Brothers movies, I just don't feel that way. I feel as though the blend of substance and comedy is balanced pretty well, and it's not being sacrificed in either direction. And that's about all I have to say about The Ladykillers. I enjoyed it overall. Not nearly as good as some of my favorites from the Coen Brothers, but I think part of the reason why I don't particularly dislike this movie is because of some of the films that we've gotten from just Ethan Coen, just directing some stuff like The Drive Away Dolls or Honey Don't. Like, I enjoyed Drive Away Dolls more than this movie, but I like this better than Honey Don't. I'm not a fan of Honey Don't at all, really. I just find that movie to be kind of dull and forgettable, whereas this one has more going for it. There's more to take away from this film than Honey Don't, but it's kind of disappointing and not nearly as good as, I don't know, something like No Country for Old Men or Inside Llewyn Davis or even The Big Lebowski, Fargo. It's just sitting in this weird, awkward space in between those films. I would recommend it simply because it's a Coen Brothers movie that I did like. I can understand people who don't like it at all and just feel as though it's a confused mess, but there are aspects about it that I do appreciate, and I might have be rating this movie lower had I not seen something like Honey Don't. And that's just one example, but anyways, this one, enjoyable for me. And I might watch it again simply because it's a Coen Brothers movie, and I'll probably rank all their movies at some point. So I would say check this movie out when you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Ladykillers a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Ladykillers, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Diamonds Are Forever. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching, and have a great day.